brings culture and kindness and love and fun and laughter and tears and all the rest of those emotions to the Treasure Coast, and that is the St. Lucie Community Theater. And I have with me Johnny Luchka, who is the director of the show that is getting ready to perform.
Yes, November 1st we open.
November 1st, so not too far away. It's called My Three Angels. And then Joe Moore, who is one of the actors in My Three Angels and also a first-timer on the stage of the Pineapple Playhouse. Welcome to the Sue-Ellensanders Show.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
We also have in the studio Sammy the dog, and it is his first appearance here in the radio station. I came in with him, and Carol and Greg Wyatt said, is this the dog that ate our green wall? No, that's not that dog. So, that this is Sammy's first visit, and he's sitting back in the corner because he's all excited about the Pineapple Playhouse, too. Now, Cliff mentioned when you came in he was talking about back in the days, he used to do shows there, too. St. Lucie Community Theater is the name of the entity, the theater, the group of people, the troupe, so to say, volunteers who put on the shows, act in the shows, coordinate it. And Pineapple Playhouse is the actual location where all the good stuff takes place.
That's the building. We
the
call it the Pineapple
stage,
Playhouse.
yes. And it's over on Wheatherbee Road in Fort Pierce. So that may be one of the reasons that if you haven't heard of it, it's not something you frequently drive by. It's not like it's in a primary location.
It's a shame that we're called the best kept secret in St. Lucie County, and we would like to change that.
But you know what? Whenever somebody does go to a show and they hear about a show and they go to a show, they're usually a loyal follower from there on in.
Yeah, we put some great performances on. It's amazing the talent we have in our community. I always keep telling my cast the only difference between this cast and the people that are up in New York City is they get paid. And
the people up in New York City, yes.
They get paid, and we get paid by the applause and appreciation from our audiences.
Applause and appreciation, that's true. But actually, 2 years ago, I was in a show there, and we got paid with food because it was a show. It was
A food
robbers.
network?
No, robbers and family and robbers and other. I can't even think of the whole name of it because I wasn't thinking of the name of the show. Anyhow, it was based. The whole scene took place around Thanksgiving. It was a Thanksgiving day, and so we had to have the Thanksgiving meal on stage. And so every performance...
Keep that in mind.
Yeah, keep that in mind.
Every performance...
You get some chicken wings.
We would get to eat the casserole, and I think it was a fake turkey, or there were, for a while there was a ham, but we didn't get to eat the whole ham every night. But we got all the casseroles and all the desserts, and somebody's wife was the best cook and cooked the best desserts, and we couldn't wait till the middle of the show and then the end of the show to eat. So we did get paid with food. But most of the shows, people are paid with laughter and tears and gratitude, and it's a small, intimate theater, Pineapple Playhouse is.
Very small. We only seat 110 people.
But you have been here for how many years?
Well, we way back in 1984, the two theaters merged. One was the St. Lucie Community Theater, and the other one was the Treasure Coast Players, which was in Port St. Lucie at the time. And my wife, Gail, was the president of Treasure Coast Players, and we would go from place to place performing. In St. Lucie Community Theater, we do the same thing. We go to schools, we go to wherever, a convention center, whatever. So we were like vagabonds going everywhere. So we decided to merge and join forces, and we purchased the building on Wheatherbee Road in 1984.
It's amazing that back before 1984, as small a community as Fort Pierce and Port St. Lucie were, that you each had your own little
Theater.
traveling theater. Yeah.
Traveling theater, yes.
And so that's a neat piece of history about the Pineapple Playhouse, but also the Pineapple Playhouse has a whole season full of shows, including the one that's coming up, My Three Angels. But you also have a very full summer schedule with a camp
Oh, yes,
for
summer
kids.
camp. That's a very big draw for us. Yeah.
Which is actually where my son Jake grew up on
Yes.
the Pineapple Playhouse stage, and he's 25 now. And you guys, whether those kids are doing stage work for the first time and then decide that they have a love of theater and go on to continue that, or whether they just learn to stand up and speak out and feel confident standing on stage and talking in front of other people. It's just such an awesome summer camp experience.
Oh,
It
yes.
really is. So, and a lot of the people who are part of Pineapple Playhouse and St. Lucie Community Theater, they're also part of the community outreach that puts together the camp and other activities. A lot of times you'll host nonprofit activities. So let's talk about My Three Angels, because November 1st is right around the corner, and you must be knee deep in rehearsals just about
we
now.
definitely are. We. Yeah, it's based on a story in circa 1910, and it's a story about a family business, a general store that's adjacent to a penal colony, and we have 3 convicts that work on the house, and
I am one of the convicts. Yes.
he is one of the convicts, one of the main convicts, and
He looks kind of shady, doesn't he?
but the convicts they come to the aid of the family, because you have an evil-spirited uncle that comes, or cousin, I should say, comes to the house, and he's going to close the business down because it's not showing a profit. So the mother and the father and the daughter that run the business get into trouble financially, and so when the convicts come to help them out on their house repairs, they find this family in jeopardy, and they come to their aid.
We are their angels.
You
They
are
their
their angels.
Yes.
Now, you have a lot of interesting characters that are part of this show, and you've got a wide variety of ages, too. And a lot of times people think, oh, community theater, that's kind of for people once they've retired, and that's not true at all.
Oh, not at all,
because
no.
You have a lot of different age ranges, and this particular show, you have, I think, the youngest people in their 20s?
Yes, we have 3 people in their 20s, and well, there's 7 men and 3 females in the cast.
Which is a pretty large cast.
Yes, it
for
is,
a show.
a very large cast.
Yeah. You think about the size of the stage and the size of the theater. And as I said, it's a little theater just off Wheatherbee Road, halfway between US 1 and Oleander. And it's a great little location, very easy to get to from wherever you're coming from. And the cool thing about St. Lucie Community Theater is that you can buy limited subscription tickets, or you can buy full subscription tickets, or you can just go show by show.
Yes, right. Just purchase online or at the box office, either one. But this show is a comedy, and if you want to laugh, you got to come to this show. It's funny.
There have been some shows that I've been to at Pineapple Playhouse that were so funny that I was laughing till I was crying. And there were also some shows that I literally was sobbing
Yes,
over.
we have some dramas. Yep.
And I can remember from so many years ago, you had Helen Keller. What was the show with Helen Keller?
I know.
Annie Sullivan is the teacher. Anyhow, Ellen Gillette played the Annie Sullivan character, and that was one of the earliest shows that I saw there, and it was unbelievable, and she was great. And I have watched Ellen on stage there at the Pineapple Playhouse, and a lot of your actors and actors do have a long-standing
Oh
relationship.
yes, Ellen Gillette's one of our long-standing actresses. She's fantastic. Every time she gets on stage, she's just it's just remarkable how well she can act.
And it's really cool how she can play so many different types of personalities.
When she played in One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest, she was
Wasn't she? Was she Nurse
She was the
Ratch?
nurse, yes.
Yeah, and you know what? When she told me she had that role, I thought, "There's no way she can act mean because she's not. There's not a mean bone in her body."
That's right.
But she
She's amazing.
knows how to act.
Mhm. She's amazing.
She is. But so you have people who are regulars, and Johnny, you've been with the Pineapple Playhouse for a long time as a director and as a producer, and you've also been on stage.
Oh yes, many times.
Yes.
Many times, yeah. But I've been behind the scenes more lately. I've been president way too many times. On the board of directors way too many. I'm presently on the board of trustees. Financially, we're not doing that well right now, so we're trying to get the board in the right direction.
Fiscally sound.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I know a country like that.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, let's Joe, what is your background? Because even though you've not been on the stage of the Pineapple Playhouse before, I'm sure you didn't just waltz in and you've never acted before. You probably have some kind of backstory here.
No, not really. I'm retired,
Yes.
and I've done a couple of plays at the Barn Theater in
Okay.
Stewart.
See, you have
But
a history.
that's where I got my
yeah.
my itch to perform on a stage. I have no idea why.
Yeah.
I just wanted to try it, and one day I just took a gamble, and so far I've had a very fruitful experience.
It's a lot of fun. I did community theater back before I had children in West Palm Beach, in Palm Beach Gardens, the Palm Beach Gardens Players we were. But it is kind of time consuming when you do it. You
it's a
have to be
commitment.
able to make that commitment. It's a short period of time commitment because rehearsals maybe 3 months.
6 weeks.
Yeah. And
you're-
then the
Maybe.
run of the
Yeah.
show, and then the run of the show. But I mean,
Right.
it's intense. And then I took time off to have kids, and then my son, of course, was involved, and my daughter even did the Pineapple Playhouse summer camps. And then when it came time, and I had a little bit more time to act again, it's kind of ironic because I was no longer capable of memorizing long parts of lines.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a double whammy.
What was kind of funny is that I wanted to try community theater, because everybody used to say, "Joe, you can't remember anything." And I said, "Well, I'm going to give it a shot."
I'm glad I didn't hear that.
Before you cast
Before I
him.
cast him.
And so I just decided, if nothing else, I'm going to see if I can train my brain to memorize things. And yeah, it's an experience.
It's a challenge. And a lot of times there's the tricks to memorizing things, and you record, especially if you have a large part, you record the other person's lines into a little recorder, and then you
We
can
do
run
that,
your
yes.
lines by yourself doing that. And then you get into a rhythm so you know that this line goes after somebody else's line. But then what happens when that person muffs their line,
Yeah, when they
You
go
have a
and
lot
you
of
were
fun.
waiting for them to feed you that line?
Right. Yeah, improvisation. it's
Yes,
called.
yeah. So you've got to be good on your feet, or become good on your feet.
You become
We-
good on your
yeah.
feet. You rehearse so much, it's over and over and over again. It's almost subconsciously you're doing your lines.
Yeah.
And maybe by the end of the show, I'll actually remember the name of the show I was in. It was long. It was. I'll think of it. if we weren't recording and we were doing a call-in, hopefully somebody would call in and tell me the name of the show. But I'll remember later. But
Yeah.
it was. But we had some old timers in the show. We had Jack Krause.
Krantz?
In the show, and his wife was the one that cooked the great pies. And then we had we had a variety. We had some young people in the show too, and it's great training for teenagers and for preteens who are coming into the show to deal with all sorts of people and for life skills and then beyond just being in front of people on stage. One of the things that is so cool about community theater is the variety of people that come out, and you don't know if you're sitting in the green room, and there is indeed a green room in the Pineapple Playhouse. If you're sitting in the green room and there might be like somebody who retired from a corporation that's sitting next to you, or someone who teaches second grade that's sitting on the other side of you.
One of the most rewarding things about being in the theater is the friendship you gain.
Yes.
Every show, it's unbelievable. You become friends for life. You'll always remember each other.
You'll always
in that
remember
cast.
them.
Yeah.
But you're right. You meet all kinds. You meet all kinds.
Yes.
That's right.
Even
One of his
and
lines.
you get to be you do.
That's right. That's one of my
And those lines will haunt you.
Yes.
The last time I was on stage, I played a nosy neighbor, and I got to hit somebody on the head with a shovel.
Ouch.
And, well, the whole idea of it was that, during rehearsals, I didn't actually hit them on the head. And so by the time we were actually running the show and doing dress rehearsals, I was supposed to softly hit them on the head, and they were supposed to fake falling down. And there was at least one time where...
No fakes.
Yeah, where it was a little bit too
Yeah.
heavy-handed. It's kind of hard to act with a shovel in your hand. Can I just say that?
Yeah, the lines haunt you sometimes.
We also had snow that was part of our show too, and so somebody had to throw the fake snow on stage, and we didn't have that until we started doing the dress rehearsal too, and we discovered that the snow was actually very slippery.
Oh, yeah.
Even more slippery than the real stuff.
Yeah.
So there were a couple times where people skated on stage. But altogether, it's a fun experience. How do people buy tickets for the show, My Three Angels?
Well, you can call the box office at 465-0366, or you can go online. Our website is pineappleplayhouse.com.
Or you can go to your Facebook page.
Oh, your
as
Facebook
well.
page, right, as well,
Because you
yes.
guys have a very active Facebook page that you can check on. And you have, is this the second show for the season?
Yes, the second one, yes.
And you have a whole season planned. What else do you have coming up this season?
Well, the next show is called Lie, Cheat, and Genuflect. It's a comedy. And I don't want to say too much about it. It's just the title alone is funny.
Yeah.
The last show of the year is Norman's That You. It's a very good show. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before, but that's a really great show.
That rings a bell, yeah.
Mhm.
And, are both of those shows already cast?
No, they don't cast until, like when my show is the first week of our performance, they cast at that time for the next show.
Okay.
So
So there'll be an opportunity, and usually what I'll tell you, if you're interested in being a part, either behind the scenes or on stage, is go ahead and friend now St. Lucie Community Theater, Pineapple Playhouse, because then if you friend them, then you'll get the different alerts when they're doing auditions.
Correct.
And there's also, isn't there an email loop that you send out?
yes, we do. We
Yeah.
send a blast out to everyone on upcoming events.
To let you know, so you can get on that email loop too. There's a place on the webpage where you can sign up and get on that email loop. You also can be a sponsor of a show.
Oh, yes.
And how do
definitely.
people do that?
Oh, well, you call the box office and they will make the
They'll
arrangements.
give them all the information.
Yeah,
All
right.
right. And then, season tickets, well, that ship's kind of sailed because we're already into
Well, we
the
have a
season.
mini-season
Oh,
season
the mini
also.
season is
So
still.
you can buy 3 shows at a reduced rate.
Right. So you can still take advantage of that. And then, I remember talking to Doreen Dion and Steve Dion and talking about the shows that were coming up in the future. And Roseanne, yeah, her son is Danny. Does that ring a bell?
No, it doesn't ring a bell,
Yeah,
so.
all right. Okay, I'll think of that one too. Anyhow, they were talking about the last time. Actually, I think they were here chatting about how the shows are selected for each season. You
Yeah,
want
we
to talk
have
a little bit about that?
Yeah, we have play reading committee, and they should be starting right now for
That
the
sounds
next
like
season.
so cool.
And what they do is they come up with recommendations, and the board will decide on which shows they're going to do.
So
Board of directors.
are you looking for like a certain show for each type of category? Like, do you look for a tragedy, a comedy, a family thing,
Well, we like
something?
we like to spread it out. We like comedies because they sell tickets.
Yes.
We have dramas, and we have musicals also. Musicals are very expensive, but they're a lot of fun to do also.
They are a lot
But
of
that's up
fun.
to play reading committee. They look at the size of the cast and when it's going to be performed, things like that. Then they make recommendations to the board of directors.
Is it so? It's tougher to be as a director. Is it a lot tougher to direct a cast of 10 than it is of 3 or 4?
No, not really. I enjoy large cast because you meet so many new people. But I just feel I like fast-paced comedies, and with a large cast, you're going to get a fast pace. With 2 or 3 people, it's a lot of words, a lot of wordy show. I tend to go for more action.
And with 2 or 3 or 4 people, they all tend to have more words they have to memorize
Yes,
too.
right,
So if
right.
you're trying out for a show that there's only 3 or 4 people,
Right. It's going to be
yeah, a
more
lot of
challenging.
stuff to
A
memorize.
lot more challenging. Yeah.
Well, the other thing I think that's really cool about Pineapple Playhouse is how the community plays a part in your props and stage furniture.
Yes, we have several businesses that allow us to come in and pick out furniture right off their showroom floor and bring it and put it on our stage, which is very nice. Because we don't have a lot of furniture ourselves.
It is really cool, and I will tell you that the friendships that you make, whether you remember the person's last name or not,
Right.
You still remember the fun that you had, and
It's amazing. When we first cast, I tell my cast members that, your name, forget it. From now on.
That's right.
From now on, you are the character's
We
name.
only speak our character
so we
names.
only speak in character's name from that point on. So
and so you call them by that
I
name.
call them by,
We?
this is Jules. And
So you
it
have
would
a
be-
French accent? Do you have a French accent?
Most of the characters are French. We're in a French colony, so we speak French with a tinge of
English.
of English.
we don't want to do too heavy of French.
Yeah, because then people might not understand it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
There have been shows before that you had, for some reason, your play reading committee likes to do a lot of Southern comedies. I guess, because we're in St. Lucie County, Florida, maybe.
Right.
But sometimes the Southern accents they require are not accents that you would hear down the street in
Correct.
Fort Pierce or Port St. Lucie.
Yes, that's true.
And there have been a number of shows that I know that were kind of planned with accents from the Deep South, and it's been interesting to see how well the accents persevere throughout the show.
Right. Like,
Oh, we
like Steel Magnolias.
we have
That's got to be Southern all the way.
yes, we have had many types of accents throughout our show
Yeah.
here. And
The
keep,
French
keep wondering
accent.
where they're coming from.
The danger with accents is you've got to continue it through the whole show. If
Yeah.
you lose it, that's not good.
Yeah, and so when you did the tryouts, Joe, did you have to show your French accent?
No.
No, I did not.
You just took it in good faith that he could learn it.
Yes, I could. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I started talking.
Because you don't have a French accent
No,
at
of course
all,
not.
can I
I'm
just
not,
say?
I'm not French, I know, but I just
You
started.
sound like a cartoon character almost.
Really?
Who's
I
the
started
character?
just talking, and the next thing I know, everybody's
That's
saying,
it.
"Oh, this is pretty good."
I said, he's in.
You throw
And
the
my
wheeze in
mother-in-law,
there.
she is French. I'm
Ah,
not so sure she's gonna like this.
but either way, it's a lot of fun whether you're on the stage or behind the stage. or sitting in the audience.
Yes.
Johnny, you talked about that there are a lot of backstage types of jobs that people could have
Oh,
too.
Lord, yes. There's so much that goes on behind the actors and actresses on stage. You have the set construction. That's a big one right off the bat. Then you have stage crew.
And
That
he has done most other set
yeah,
construction.
I've done it all. Yeah, then you have your stage crew that makes sure that the actors are ready to go on, make sure they have the props and those kind of things, and make sure everything time is proper. And then you have tech. You have your lights and sound. And we're always looking for volunteers to come and help us with any of those features. You have ushers. You have people that man the bar. And it's just a lot of things that go on.
All types of volunteers.
Yes, we can use everybody.
And the box office is open limited hours. So if you call and there's no answer and you get a recording, don't worry about it
Yeah,
because
we'll call you back.
they will call you back. Can people also purchase tickets online?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, on the website, pineapple.playhouse.com.
Oh, no, my wife has already purchased
Facebook.
tickets online.
So front row every night?
I don't know if she's going to be sitting in the front row. I don't know about that.
Sometimes that's a little tough having somebody that you know and love right in the front row. Because the other thing about people that are friends and family and you may have rehearsed your lines in front of is they know when you make a mistake and they go, and that could throw you a little bit.
He just made that up. I don't know where that came from. True.
There's been sometimes, but the best thing is the majority of the audience has not usually seen the show before, or if they have, it's been so long ago because you don't usually pick things that are commonly seen all the time, and you try to pick things that are human interest shows that like laugh or laughing.
That's the whole idea of coming to a live theater show in the first place, is to get away from your normal everyday life and have some fun.
And you certainly do. But what I was thinking of is the time there was one show that we did, and you have like a 3-week run, and
Yes.
it's
Thursday,
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and the Sunday is a matinee.
At 2 p.m., right.
Yeah. And then you have 3 weeks of that. So even though the show starts November 1st,
Yeah, we finished the 18th.
it finishes
18th.
the 18th. But there was one show that we did that was quite a bit shorter than all the others were because one person skipped a section. And so everyone just skipped along with them.
We've experienced that.
Yes. But if you're sitting in the audience, you don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know. And it is so much
unless they
fun.
go back and repeat the line.
They do it later. But, you said you also do musicals there.
Yeah.
And are you doing a musical this year?
No, not this year.
Not this year.
Not this year.
Because it is expensive
It's
to
very
do.
expensive for us, and again, we're not financially able to at this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
So how can we, as the people in the community, help the Pineapple Playhouse? What are some of the ways that we can help?
Come to the show for one.
Okay.
We got to fill
Sell
the
out
house
the
up.
seats.
If you don't fill the house up, that's our income. That's the only way we make any money.
And it is really sad because it costs you the same, and it takes the same amount of time and energy to put the show on for 25 people as when the house is full.
That's correct.
Correct.
So you want to have a lot of people there, and you really have you have your Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night shows, Sunday matinees, which the Sunday matinees usually sell out first, don't they?
Yes, right. They do.
So, and then you have. Do you have was it the last show, or is it this one coming up where you have a benefit performance? I think it was.
Yeah, we have a benefit performance on the second Saturday. We'll have a Saturday matinee, and then we'll do a doubleheader that night. But it's for some charity in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And the one we're doing it for this show is called Crossings, and it's a church organization charity thing. So we'll be
Awesome.
performing that for them, and all proceeds go to that charity.
Yeah,
instead
that's
of the
great.
Pineapple.
That's great. So even when you guys aren't in the black and making a ton of money, you're still giving
We're
back
still
to the
giving
community.
back to the theater, yeah.
That-
I mean, community.
And that's great. So in addition to buying tickets and coming to the show, you can also purchase program advertisements.
Oh yes, very well, that's right. The advertising in our playbills. You become sponsors of the show. There's a lot of ways that you could help us financially.
Or you can donate things. So the last show I was in, what was interesting, the backstory was, there was a guy and his wife, and they had their daughter, and then these robbers came in that were robbing someplace in the neighborhood, and they were trying to hide away in their house, and they took the whole family hostage for. Was it it was either Christmas Eve or Thanksgiving. It was a food holiday. Okay, we've already established it was a food holiday, but one of the things that they did is they took it was Alex Yon played the dad, and I know is he president of the board this year?
No, he's not president, but he's in the show.
Okay. Oh, he is in the show.
Yes,
Is
he's
he?
a convict.
He's a convict. Oh my gosh.
He plays Joseph in the
Yes. Yeah, and I've seen him in a bunch of roles too. Well, he played the dad, and the woman who played his wife, who actually was away for most of the show and then comes in at the end and walks in on the gunman holding the whole family hostage. She took Alex's own family portraits and scanned her head in on Alex's wife. And then they blew them up and framed them and put them on the wall. It was the coolest thing.
Yeah.
It was, but I mean, the different special touches like that you think about the history. A lot of times, you're not just having furniture donated. If you have a set that's a home, then you want to have stuff on the walls. You want to have stuff on the tabletops, and people bring in things from home and have it be part of it, or they paint stuff and hang them on the walls. But also the costumes, you usually don't go to a costume store and buy a costume, even if it's set in 1910.
Yeah, it's been very challenging for us to. We have a costume lady that came down from Vero Beach Theater Guild helping us out with the costumes.
And so what kind of advice did she give you? What are you wearing, Joe? I mean, not now, but.
He's a convict.
I'm a convict.
Oh, so you wear like a.
Oh, we have a convict outfit.
Okay.
With numbers.
Yep.
But it has to be circa 1910 and not.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's probably a little bit different. And how about the rest of the family and the characters? How did they know? Did they somebody that would be you, the director, looked online or somewhere? And
well, we have some costumes in our costume room, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
Yeah,
sometimes
I remember the costumes.
Yeah, and we do have friends down at the barn, and they've loaned us costumes in the past.
Yes.
So we may be even going to them again. We don't know, because we're not fully costumed yet.
Yeah, and I forgot that. That's something else that the community could take part on. If you have like different types of period clothing and or different types of costume pieces that you want to give away and you want to donate, you do have your costume closet.
Yeah.
And generally, if you're in the show, you kind of peruse that and maybe along with the director and see what looks like it's in line with the type of role that you're playing. So that's a lot of fun. It's like playing big kid dress up.
That's what happens. The ladies go in there and they put all these dresses on.
It's a lot of fun. So the show that's coming up starts November 1st, and that's My Three Angels. And how much are the tickets?
$20, and we do have half price for students.
So students 18 and younger, or any student?
Any students.
Yep. Okay. So they could buy half price tickets, and you can buy your tickets online at www.stlucy pineappleplayhouse.com. Or you can look on Facebook on Pineapple Playhouse.
Yes.
Like them, like you on Facebook, and that way you can find out when the shows are happening, whether you want to go to the shows or whether you want to help out, behind the scenes. You have to have people moving the stage things
Yes,
around
we're
and
always looking for volunteers.
setting the
'Cause
tables.
we are all
and,
volunteers.
so if you want to get yourself started with it, it's a good idea. My Three Angels opens November 1st and plays Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday matinee for 3 weeks. And then the following show, if you're interested in trying out, the following show again is what?
Lie, cheat, and genuflect.
Lie, cheat, and genuflect. And that's coming up. Comedy, I'm assuming?
It's a comedy,
yes.
yes.
Oh, good to hear. The Pineapple Playhouse is really, we call it the best kept secret, but more and more people are finding out about it. And it's really a fun night out, whether you're just going with friends or you're going because you know somebody in the show. And then you already know someone in this show because Joe Moore is in the show, and so you know that you can go and listen to his French accent. Joe Moore and Johnny Luchka have been my guests. They're from the Pineapple Playhouse. Their new show opens November 1st, My Three Angels. You've been listening to the Sue Ellen Sanders Show. We'll be back here next week with more.
The Sue Ellen Sanders Show has archives on YouTube. Just go to WPSLTV.com and look up the Sue Ellen Sanders Show amongst all of our programming up there. And of course, Friday nights taking you into high school sports. The Sue Ellen Sanders Show, 6:05 every Friday night, right here on WPSL Port St. Lucie. The talk of the Treasure Coast.